Daryl Hannah was one of the biggest Hollywood stars of her time, but there are a lot of nightmare things you may also not know about her. For example, do you know she still battles a serious, debilitating condition that ruined her childhood and almost made it impossible for her to be an actress?
I still struggle. I still am not comfortable.
Or the real reason she refuses to do interviews or attend red carpets. In this video, we will show you the side of Daryl Hannah that she tries her best to keep hidden, while also showing you some of her rare photos. Without further ado, let's get started. Hannah's condition started right from the day she was born, yet somehow she managed to date some of the biggest names in Hollywood and star in some of the biggest films, like Splash, Steel Magnolias, and Kill Bill, just to name a few. As a child, she was overly shy and introverted, and she struggled to communicate.
I was shy.
She was shy.
Her parents' divorce when she was just 7 years old may also have played its part in Hannah's strange behavior.
It has an effect on every kid's life when there's a break in the family. Yeah, I'm sure. I know it had a certain, definitely everything changed in my world.
Growing up, she described herself as tall and skinny and goofy, and having a boy's name didn't help. As a result of all of these, her school life was an absolute nightmare. Children can be very cruel when they see someone who doesn't fit in, and unfortunately that was me. I didn't fit in anywhere, Hannah said of her childhood.
I was brutally picked on in school. I didn't fit in, and I didn't have a great experience at school.
That kind of childhood would be hard for any child, but for Hannah it was worse. It was excruciating. My shyness was probably made worse because of my condition, she once explained. I'd come home from school and cry myself to sleep. Right from an early age, I'd rock myself back and forth because it helped calm me down. That back and forth rocking was just one of the many signs that worried her mother. There was also the fact that Hannah chose to live in a dream world of her own imagination rather than reality.
I was more out there somewhere. I was off in the dream world all the time and was not very communicative.
Doctors at the time didn't really fully understand her condition. They gave her a series of tests, including the Rorschach test, which she apparently couldn't do.
I was like, here's an ink blot, what does that mean? And my answers were all wrong, apparently. And
the doctors slapped her with an autism label and gave the worst possible diagnosis ever.
They recommended to my mom to put me on some medications and institutionalize me.
That would have meant the end of Hannah's life. But by now, you must wonder, if doctors were ready to throw Hannah into an institution at such an incredibly young age, how can she be a functioning adult today? Well, thankfully, her mother refused and she took matters into her own hands. Instead of trying to fix an apparently broken child, Hannah's mother was patient with her and encouraged her.
She took me out of school. She kind of just let me, sort of exist in my imaginary world for a good year or so, and sort of slowly reintegrated me back into the normal world, whatever that means.
The one thing that was really the ultimate saving grace for Hannah was discovering film and television. It gave her an even bigger escape from reality. As she explained, I wanted to go and live in the land of Oz and meet the Tin Woodsman and the Cowardly Lion and the Scarecrow. I wanted to go to those places. Literally. At that stage, she had no dreams or ambitions of becoming an actress, but only because she didn't understand how films worked yet. Then everything changed when she realized how movies were actually made. I was about 11 when I understood that movies weren't something that just happened in reality and someone caught it on camera, she said.
And I was like, oh, you mean you could get a job that would take you to the land of Oz and let you meet the Tin Woodsman and the Cowardly Lion? I'm like, that's for me.
Hannah's life was changed forever. She immediately knew what she wanted to do with her life. She took every acting class she could. But instead of growing her confidence, the acting teachers just broke her down further and further into the scared and shy shell that she already was. Finally, she found one teacher who built her up and helped her to grow as an aspiring actress. At age 17, Hannah felt ready for Hollywood, but her parents wanted to hear nothing about it. And not because of her condition, but for a far more sinister reason. A close friend of the family had lost his own daughter in a horrific way. She also dreamed of being an actress and had moved to the big city to pursue her dreams. but she was murdered before she could even set foot in Hollywood. The thought of their own daughter succumbing to the same fate scared the life out of Hannah's parents.
Here I was, 17 years old, still playing with trolls and teddy bears and, having imaginary languages and stuff, and they were like, ooh, this girl is not ready to go to the big city.
But it turned out Hannah was more than ready. She landed her first small role that same year, playing Pam in the 1978 horror film The Fury starring Kirk Douglas. 2 more small roles followed when she got a significant role opposite Harrison Ford in 1982's cult classic, Blade Runner. And here's a fun fact. She actually did most of her own stunts in that movie. Impressive. Early in her film career, Hannah kicked up a stormy affair with married musician Jackson Browne. After his wife left him, he and Hannah continued their relationship for almost a decade. But things ended on a violent note after allegations that he had assaulted her, leaving her with a broken finger, a busted lip, and a black eye. After the tremendous success of Blade Runner, Hannah appeared in 2 more films. But her biggest breakthrough came opposite Tom Hanks, where she played his lead romantic role as Madison in 1983's Splash. But filming wasn't all sunshine and roses. Not only did she struggle with her shyness and with intense anxiety because of her condition, but there was something else. I was very world-traveled but very sheltered at the same time. I hadn't really had a boyfriend yet. So I was incredibly anxious about any nudity, she shared. And of course, the film did demand quite a lot of nudity. But director Ron Howard tried to accommodate her as best he could, and there were no explicit scenes. "When I'm at the Statue of Liberty, you see my butt," Hannah quipped, "but then everybody's got a butt, so I guess it's not that bad." Suddenly, the shy and anxious Daryl Hannah was an overnight sensation. An international superstar. It sounds glamorous, right? But for Hannah, it was living hell. She loved the acting part of her job, but the fame and celebrity of it all terrified her right to the bone. With her condition, she found it near impossible to attend celebrity events or to give interviews. She even turned down Oprah Winfrey. Who turns down an interview with Oprah? "I would try to avoid those things at all costs," she says. "I wasn't trying to be difficult. It was just that those things really scared me," she admitted. The few interviews she did do, she was criticized.
I swear for a while we don't even hear you speak. Different kinds of challenges?
I like it that way. I would like to be mute the whole film,
Over the next 10 years, she appeared in countless hit films, such as The Pope of Greenwich Village, Roxanne, Steel Magnolias, and Grumpy Old Men. In 1992, Hannah began one of the most high-profile romances of her life. She and JFK Jr. began publicly dating, but the timelines are a bit blurry. It seemed like they were both in serious relationships when they started seeing each other. As a matter of fact, JFK Jr. rushed to Hannah's side after her rocky relationship with Jackson Browne had come violently crashing down. But the relationship was not meant to be, and the couple broke up in 1994. Hannah also very briefly dated actor Val Kilmer in 2001. The two met while working together on the film In God We Trust. It's no secret that he was a ladies' man who bedded some of the hottest actresses in the film business, with names like Cindy Crawford, Angelina Jolie, and Cher, but it turns out that Hannah was the one who shattered his heart and left him in pieces. In his memoir, Kilmer wrote, "Lord knows I've suffered heartache, but Daryl was by far the most painful of all." Hannah herself would become the victim of terrible heartache, but not at the hands of a romantic lover. While promoting her film Kill Bill Vol. 2, she was sexually harassed by Harvey Weinstein on several occasions. After she kept ignoring his non-stop obsessive phone calls, he eventually went up to her hotel room to bang on her door. She described his behavior as incessant, and she was forced to escape the room through another door, spending the night in the makeup artist's room trying to hide from Weinstein. The next day, he started again, and Hannah felt so unsafe that she barriered her door off with furniture. "We actually pushed a dresser in front of the door and just kind of huddled in the room," she said. On another occasion, Weinstein burst into her room without invitation and asked if he could touch her breasts. Hannah did not have the courage to speak about it until a decade later, but she still believes that Weinstein played a big hand in the demise of her career, as she got dramatically fewer offers after that. Instead of acting, she turned to producing and has around 13 credits to her name. In 2010, she also had a short romance with actor Paul Blackthorne. However, after that, she seemed to have disappeared off the dating radar, but she ultimately found the love of her life in Neil Young. The pair started dating in 2014 and ultimately tied the knot 4 years later in 2018. Needless to say, Daryl Hannah now lives as much of a quiet life as she can, avoiding interviews and the spotlight. If you enjoyed this video, there's a good chance you'll also enjoy the one showing on your screen right now. Click, enjoy, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. See you on the next one.